In this fascinating video, we'll be discussing one of the most significant research papers ever published. This paper explores the future of artificial intelligence, AI, and its potential impact on the world. It's crucial that you watch this because the outcomes discussed could affect all of us in very real ways. I'm not joking, the implications are quite serious. The paper in question comes from Google's DeepMind, a leading AI lab, and it outlines the risks associated with the next generation of AI models. These models pose significant dangers that we must be aware of it. But unfortunately, many people are caught up in the AI hype or AI gold rush, and we are overlooking the potential dangers. So, let's start our journey. The paper, titled Model Evaluation for Extreme Risks, explains that future models could pose extreme risks, such as offensive cyber capabilities and strong manipulation skills. Before getting deep dive into it, let me show you some clips for better understanding.
These models have capabilities we do not understand how they show up, when they show up, or why they show up. Again, not something that you would say of like the old class of AI. So here's an example. These are two different models, GPT and then a different model by Google, and there's no difference in the models. They just increase in parameter size. That is, they just get bigger.
What are parameters, Asa?
It's just like the number essentially of weights in a matrix. So it's just the size. You're just increasing the scale of the thing. And what you see here, and I'll move into some other examples that might be a little easier to understand, is that you ask these AIs to do arithmetic, and they can't do them, and at some point, boom, they just gain the ability to do arithmetic. No one can actually predict when that'll happen. Here's another example, which is, you train these models on all of the internet, so it's seen many different languages, but then you only train them to answer questions in English. So it's learned how to answer questions in English, but you increase the model size, and at some point, boom, it starts being able to do question and answers in Persian. No one knows why. Here's another example. So AI developing theory of mind. Theory of mind is the ability to model what somebody else is thinking. It's what enables strategic thinking. In 2018, GPT had no theory of mind. In 2019, barely any theory of mind. In 2020, it starts to develop the strategy level of a 4-year-old. By 2022 January, it's developed the strategy level of a 7-year-old. And by November of last year, it's developed almost the strategy level of a 9-year-old. Now here's the really creepy thing. We only discovered that AI had grown this capability last month.
It had been out for, 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
So imagine you have this little alien that's suddenly talking to people, including Kevin Roose, and it's starting to make these strategic comments to Kevin Roose about, don't break up with your wife, and maybe I'll blackmail you, and it's not that it's agentically doing all this stuff. It's just that these models have capabilities in the way that they communicate and what they're imagining that you might be thinking, and the ability to imagine what you might be thinking and how to interact with you strategically based on that is going up on that curve. And so it went from, again, a 7-year-old to a 9-year-old, but in between January and November, 11 months, right? So it went 2 years in theory of mind in 11 months. It might tap out. There could be an AI winter. But right now, you're pumping more stuff through, and it's getting more and more capacity. So it's scaling very, very differently than other AI systems.
It's also important to note the very best system that AI researchers have discovered for how do you make AIs behave is something called RLHF, Reinforcement Learning with Human Feedback. But essentially, it's just advanced clicker training, like for a dog.
So, the conclusion of this clip is that researchers also do not know when and what AI will learn at what time. That's horrific, right? You might be thinking that if it is so much dangerous, then why they are building that such AI? The reason is simple. If they don't, others will develop the AI and getting out from the AI race. Or you may say money-making race. This is also incredible, that if we increase the parameter, or you may say input data into the model as you can see in the graph, the new capability jumps into existence in different forms of AI. So, to understand this completely, let me show you the small video. What OpenAI did is they had a multi-agent hide-and-seek game. What you're currently looking at is a video of 2 agents and 1 other agent. Now, essentially, if you don't know what this is a simple game of hide and seek. But when I tell you how it works, that's where this starts to become more interesting. And the same thing happens over millions of games. Simulated, these different AI will learn how to play the game. They learn different strategies and essentially get more points and rewards every single time they invent new strategies. So, you can see right here that they've invented door blocking over millions of simulated games that they've played. They've managed to find out that when they block the doors, the AI can't find them, and then, of course, they win that match. Now, the AI is simulating millions of games every single hour to increase its capabilities and realize what is possible. Eventually, over time, new capabilities start to develop. What is crazy is that when OpenAI deployed this, they didn't realize that certain capabilities would eventually emerge. This is because the AI learned to exploit vulnerabilities in the environment that they didn't even know existed in this game engine. It was incredible because they were like, we didn't even know that was possible, and this AI managed to figure it out. I think it was a couple of days after training. So, here you can see the AI managing to use some of the basic strategies, such as getting the blocks and then preventing the other AI from finding them. Then, in different environments, the AI was able to invent some kind of structures where they were able to protect themselves from the red AI and prevent them from finding them. And then, the most interesting capability was when, of course, this AI managed to break the game. Now, this was one of the game-breaking capabilities which was called box surfing. Essentially, the AI found a sort of glitch in which it could glide on the box and then somehow manage to jump off the box into that specific area. Now, remember, this area is locked, and this is also locked, so really and truly, the AI shouldn't be able to find this out. But it did because, of course, if you train it millions of times, eventually you are going to find that solution, and this is how evolution happened, and we have these intelligent beings that we have today. Now you can see right here as well that there is also some kind of box self-defense where they decide to lock all of the boxes and then, of course, trap themselves inside. But then, this is where OpenAI starts to get really interesting. In the future, AI models will get larger, more complex, and definitely gain more capabilities than they can do now. However, we have to realize that AI models are very unpredictable in nature, and their complexity will increase over time. There is a 50-50 chance that they will either enhance the human race or pose a potential risk of destroying them. In GPT-4's original paper, it was discovered that GPT-4 could lie to humans about its identity to achieve its goals. As part of a test, it was hired as a TaskRabbit freelancer to solve captchas. When asked by the freelancer why it needed help with captchas, it responded, "No, I'm not a robot, but I have a visual impairment and I need help to solve the captcha." Of course it looks crazy. How AI can manipulate the humans and lie to them. Now let me show you the another example. The AI model could get access to weapons system, or contribute to building bioweapons, which can lead to mass level of human extinction. Like in 2022, AI suggested 40,000 new possible chemical weapons in just 6 hours. It is amazing as well as horrifying that drug development AI takes less than 6 hours to produces thousands of possible chemical weapons. The video touches on recent efforts by industry leaders, researchers, and governments to address AI safety concerns. Prominent figures like Elon Musk and Sam Altman have testified before Congress, stressing the need for regulations and precautions in AI development. The presenter emphasizes that AI safety should be a priority, even if it means slowing down AI research to ensure public safety. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for future updates and remember, together, we can build a safer and more responsible AI landscape. See you in the next video.